Jack's house sat at the edge of the colony, surrounded by the red dust plains that stretched far into the horizon. The sun of this alien world painted the sky in shades of pink and gold, and for most people it was breathtaking. But for Jack, it had been just another day. Life on the colony was routine: work at the energy plant, picking up supplies from the central hub, and coming home to Lily and Max, his two children who had become the center of his universe after their mother had died years ago. He adjusted the straps of his toolkit and looked at the small house, noticing how quiet it was this morning. The children were likely outside playing as usual. He smiled to himself, knowing that their laughter and chatter were the sounds that made this strange world feel like home. But today was unusual. Today someone was coming, a mail-order alien bride he had ordered months ago, before the plans for Clara and his future had changed. Jack had thought it would be a simple process. The service had promised companionship, someone compatible to share life with, someone intelligent, caring, and adaptable. Nira, the alien from a distant star system, fit all the criteria. At least on paper. Jack had expected a young, graceful figure stepping down from a shuttle, eyes shining with excitement, ready for a new life with him. But things had changed. He was married now to Clara, the woman who had brought warmth and laughter back into his life after loss, and he worried about the meeting. Meanwhile, in another sector of the colony, Nira's ship descended. Sleek and iridescent, the vessel seemed to float on the windless plains as if the air itself wanted to welcome it. Nira looked out from her cabin, her green-tinted skin reflecting the colors of the sky. She was nervous, her antennae twitching slightly, a subtle sign of anxiety in her species. She had imagined the new life waiting for her. Love, a home, a family. She expected the excitement of a first meeting, the thrill of new beginnings. What she didn't expect was reality. Jack met her at the landing bay, hands slightly raised in greeting. "Nira?" he asked carefully. "Yes," she replied, her voice melodic but carrying a cautious tone. I need to explain something," Jack began, swallowing nervously. "I know you were sent here for companionship, but things have changed. I'm already married." Nira froze, antennae stiffening. Her mind raced. "Married? Already?" The word sounded foreign, heavy with disappointment. She had traveled across star systems expecting this moment to mark the beginning of her new life, and now everything seemed to crumble. Jack nodded. "I'm sorry. There was a misunderstanding with the service. I didn't expect the timing to overlap like this. But I need you to know, I'm happy with my family. They're important to me." Nira remained silent, staring at him, unsure how to respond. She had rehearsed countless scenarios in her mind, but none included being turned away before even meeting her intended. Jack gestured toward the house. "I hope you'll at least meet them, the kids. They might like you." Nira blinked, surprised. "Meet them?" she asked, her voice softer. "Yes," Jack said. "It won't be what you imagine, but it might be interesting." The journey to the house was quiet, each step heavy with anticipation. When they arrived, the door opened and Clara stepped out, smiling warmly. "Jack, who's this?" Jack introduced them carefully. "Clara, this is Nira, the bride from the service." Clara tilted her head, her smile steady and gracious. "I see. Well, welcome. I hope your trip wasn't too uncomfortable." Nira studied Clara. She had expected competition, jealousy, tension, but none of that was present. Clara's demeanor was calm, almost welcoming, and for a moment, Nira felt a strange sense of relief mixed with her disappointment. Then, from behind Clara, two children appeared, Lily, with her hair tied in a messy braid, and Max, carrying a small metallic toy. Both froze when they saw Nira, eyes wide. The alien was unlike anyone they had ever seen, with shimmering green skin, delicate antennae, and eyes that glowed faintly in the light. "Who are you?" Max asked, clutching his toy tightly. Nira knelt slightly to appear less intimidating. "I'm Nira. I came to meet your father." Lily tilted her head, studying her. "Our father is married," she said carefully. "Yes," Nira admitted softly. "I know. It was supposed to be different. I didn't expect this." The children exchanged glances, whispering to each other. There was a pause before Lily spoke again. "Do you want to see our house?" she asked hesitantly. Nira's heart lifted slightly. It wasn't the welcome she had expected, but it was something. "I would like that," she said. Inside the house, the children led her on a careful tour, showing her their small bedrooms, the living room filled with scattered toys, and even the kitchen where Clara was preparing breakfast. Nira noticed how normal and warm the house felt, despite her initial disappointment. There was laughter, chatter, and the quiet hum of machines in the background, a stark contrast to the silence of her ship. Over breakfast, Nira tried to make conversation, asking about school, hobbies, and even the small garden outside. Lily and Max were cautious but curious. Slowly, they began asking her questions in return. Where was she from? What did she eat? How did she sleep? Nira answered honestly, telling small stories about her home planet, her favorite games, and even a few harmless alien pranks she liked to play. The children were fascinated. They had never met anyone like her, and the novelty made their eyes sparkle with curiosity. Nira noticed how their laughter filled the room, warm and infectious, and she realized that she had not felt this sense of belonging in a long time. Later, while exploring the backyard, Max tried to climb a small tree, his feet slipping on the dry dirt. Nira reacted instantly, stretching out a hand and catching him before he fell. Max looked up at her, surprise and gratitude written all over his face. You saved me," he said quietly. Nira smiled gently. "Of course. You must be careful, though." Lily watched silently for a moment before speaking. "You're nice. You don't have to leave right now, you know." Nira felt a strange warmth in her chest. She had expected rejection, resentment, maybe even anger. Instead, she found acceptance from the very people she had feared would not want her. For the first time, she considered the possibility that family wasn't defined solely by legal agreements or formal titles. Perhaps bonds could form differently, through trust, care, and simple kindness. Jack watched the interaction from the doorway, quietly observing the growing connection between Nira and the children. He felt a mix of relief and admiration, relief that the tension in the house had not escalated, and admiration for Nira, who handled the awkward situation with grace and patience. Clara, too, noticed the subtle change, her eyes softening as she saw Nira engaging with the children in ways only someone genuine could. That evening, as the pink and gold sky deepened into violet, the children invited Nira to join them for a small game in the living room. They built miniature anti-gravity vehicles using Nira's instructions, laughing when they accidentally made one fly into the ceiling. Nira's eyes sparkled with amusement, and she laughed along with them. It was a simple, unplanned moment, but it held a powerful truth. Connection could grow in unexpected ways. As night fell, the household settled. Jack checked on the children, who were now asleep, and Nira sat quietly in the living room, reflecting on the day. She had arrived expecting a life with a human, only to find herself in a completely different reality. Yet for the first time since leaving her home planet, she felt a sense of peace. The children had accepted her, trusted her, and even chosen her presence without hesitation. Nira realized that while she had come for one purpose, she had found something perhaps more meaningful, a chance to be part of a family in a new way. It was not what she had imagined, but maybe imagination was not as important as connection. She smiled softly, thinking about the days ahead. Tomorrow would be another chance to build trust, to explore this strange new world, and to grow closer to the children who had already begun to choose her. And somehow, in the quiet glow of the colony night, Nira felt that this was only the beginning of something extraordinary. The first day ended, not with disappointment, but with hope. The children had found someone they could admire and trust. Nira had discovered a place she could belong, and Jack and Clara had glimpsed a new possibility of family. In this strange and distant colony, bonds were forming in ways no one could have anticipated, proving that humanity's strength lay not just in survival, but in the capacity to embrace the unexpected with compassion and warmth. And as the stars twinkled overhead, Nira whispered softly to herself, "Maybe this is where I'm meant to be." The morning sun rose slowly over the colony, casting a soft golden glow across Jack's house. Inside, the aroma of fresh breakfast filled the kitchen, where Clara was humming softly as she prepared pancakes. Lily and Max sat at the table, chattering excitedly about yesterday's events. Nira, now comfortably seated, sipped a warm beverage while listening to the children's animated stories. It had been a quiet night for reflection. Nira thought about her arrival, the shock she felt and the way the children had welcomed her despite the awkward beginning. That memory and the children's trust had stayed with her. She realized that even if she hadn't come to this family expecting acceptance, they had given it freely, and now she wanted to be worthy of that trust. Lily nudged her gently. "Nira, do you want to help us with the garden today? Max says you know special ways to make plants grow faster." Nira smiled, her antennae twitching slightly with delight. "I do have a few techniques," she said. "Let's see if we can make your flowers bloom brighter than ever." The children led her to the small backyard garden. Using a combination of alien knowledge and simple earth gardening, Nira helped them plant seeds, water them carefully, and adjust the sunlight panels that protected the plants from harsh solar rays. She explained each step, making it sound like a game rather than work. Max, usually restless, followed her instructions with careful attention, while Lily asked endless questions about plant biology and space weather. As they worked, Jack came out to check on them. He watched from the doorway, smiling quietly. The bond between Nira and the children was growing faster than he had expected. Their laughter, the way they followed her instructions, and the light in their eyes were proof that something meaningful was forming. Even Clara stepped outside, carrying a tray of snacks, and observed without interruption, giving them space. After a long morning of gardening, the group gathered for a small picnic in the backyard. Nira had prepared a few alien treats, sweet and tangy in a way the children had never tasted. Lily and Max were thrilled, and they devoured the snacks while asking questions about Nira's planet, her culture, and her childhood. "I wish we could visit your planet," Max said wistfully. "It sounds amazing." "Maybe one day," Nira replied, smiling. "But for now, we can learn a lot about each other right here." The afternoon was spent building small devices together, floating models, light projections, and simple anti-gravity toys. The children were mesmerized by Nira's skills, and she found herself enjoying their curiosity and creativity. It was a different kind of joy, one that she hadn't experienced before. She realized that this was the kind of connection she had been searching for. Though it was not with Jack alone, it was with the children who had accepted her so openly. Later, as the sun dipped low, the family gathered in the living room. The children suggested a game of storytelling. Nira hesitated for a moment, unsure how her alien tales would be received, but Lily encouraged her. "Tell us a story about your planet, please," Nira began, her voice soft but expressive, describing vast floating cities, glowing forests, and creatures that could communicate through colors and light. The children listened intently, eyes wide, hanging on every word. Jack and Clara sat quietly, enjoying the scene, seeing the magic of connection unfold. By the time Nira finished, Lily and Max were enthralled. "That was amazing," Lily exclaimed. "You're like a real-life wizard." Nira laughed softly, touched by their enthusiasm. "I suppose I could be, in my own way." The days passed quickly, each one strengthening the bond between Nira and the children. She helped them with school projects, shared alien puzzles, and taught them simple exercises that combined play with learning. Max had never been so patient with a task, and Lily's creativity seemed to expand with Nira's encouragement. Jack noticed that the children were happier, more confident, and more willing to explore new ideas than ever before. One evening, as the family prepared for dinner, Lily approached Jack quietly. "Dad, can Nira stay with us for longer?" "We really like her," she said softly, looking up at him with hopeful eyes. Jack hesitated, knowing the situation was unusual, but he also recognized the truth. Nira had become an important part of their lives. "We'll see," he said carefully. "But you need to understand things aren't simple. Nira didn't come here for this family. She came for me." "I know," Lily replied, "but she's special. We like her, and maybe she likes us too." Jack smiled faintly, seeing the wisdom in his daughter's words. Clara, who had been nearby, nodded in agreement. "Sometimes family isn't about where you start," she said. "It's about who chooses to stay and care for each other." That night, after the children were asleep, Nira sat quietly in the living room. Jack joined her, careful not to disturb the peace. "You know," he said slowly, "I never imagined someone could step into our lives like this. And yet, here you are. The kids trust you, and honestly, I respect the way you've handled everything." Nira looked at him, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the colony lights. "I didn't expect this either," she said. "I thought I would be alone and adjusting to a new life. But the children, they welcomed me. And I want to be someone they can count on." Jack nodded. "They've chosen you in their own way. And maybe that's the most important choice of all." As the days turned into weeks, Nira became more integrated into the household. She helped with schoolwork, assisted Clara in cooking, and even joined Jack on his engineering projects. Her alien skills proved useful in surprising ways, improving efficiency and solving problems that had baffled Jack for months. The children adored her, and their bond grew stronger each day. One afternoon, Max fell while playing near the cliffs outside the colony. Nira, quick to react, caught him just in time. The children hugged her tightly afterward, relief and affection evident on their faces. Jack, watching from a distance, felt a surge of admiration and gratitude. It was clear that Nira's presence had become more than just a novelty. She had become a part of their family. Clara, observing the scene, smiled warmly. "She's made this house brighter," she said to Jack later that evening. "The kids love her, and so do I. Maybe this is exactly what our family needed." Nira, meanwhile, reflected on her journey. She had traveled across galaxies expecting one kind of life, only to find something entirely different. Yet she realized that the life she had found here, with Jack, Clara, and the children, was richer than anything she had imagined. Love and belonging were not about contracts or expectations. They were about trust, care, and the willingness to embrace one another. One weekend, the family planned a small celebration for the colony's cultural festival. Nira helped the children prepare decorations, taught them traditional songs from her planet, and joined in the games. The laughter, the music, and the shared joy created memories that would last a lifetime. The children proudly introduced Nira to their friends, and the acceptance she received from them reinforced her growing sense of belonging. As the festival ended, the family sat together under the stars. Lily and Max leaned against Nira, their eyes heavy with sleep but bright with happiness. Jack and Clara looked on, feeling a deep sense of peace. The family was unusual, unconventional, and unexpected, but it worked. They had chosen each other, and that choice had formed a bond stronger than any expectation or plan. Nira whispered softly to herself, This is family." Jack placed a hand on her shoulder, a quiet gesture of respect and gratitude. "You've earned a place here," he said. "Not because of what you were meant to be, but because of who you are." Nira smiled, feeling a warmth that went beyond physical comfort. She had arrived expecting a life with Jack, yet what she had found was a family that needed her, children who loved her, and a sense of belonging she had never imagined possible. In the quiet glow of the colony night, the family rested together, united not by expectation or obligation, but by choice and trust. Nira had finally found the life she was seeking. Not the life she had planned, but a life richer, fuller, and more meaningful. And as she drifted to sleep, surrounded by the children's soft breathing and the faint hum of the colony, she knew that this was only the beginning of a lifetime of love, laughter, and shared adventure. In this distant corner of the universe, a family had formed in the most unexpected way, and it was proof that humanity's strength, its true strength, lay not just in exploration or survival, but in compassion, understanding, and the courage to embrace the unknown. The stars twinkled brightly above, as if celebrating the bond that had been forged. And Nira, finally at peace, whispered once more, "I am home."